Hello, my name is Benjamin Richards, and this is my game review for CIS-487. The game that I will be reviewing is called Teamfight Tactics, or TFT. Teamfight Tactics is developed and published by Riot Games. It is an auto battler / auto chess game. It is also a strategy game and a battle royale. The price of the game is completely free. The minimum stated hardware requirements for Teamfight Tactics is that it requires for the CPU an Intel i3 530 or an AMD A6 3650. For the RAM, it requires 2 gigabytes. For the GPU, an NVIDIA 9600 GT, an AMD HD 65070, or an Intel HD 4600 are required. For integrated graphics, 1 gigabyte of VRAM is required. For DX or DirectX, DirectX 10 is required. For operating system, Windows 7, 8, or 10, 32-bit or 64-bit are required. The game requires 16 gigabytes of storage and a minimum resolution of 1024 by 768. For the actual recommended required hardware by Riot developers, the CPU has to be an i5 3300 Intel, while it could also be an AMD Ryzen 3 1200. For the RAM, the developers recommend 4 gigabytes of RAM. The GPU requirements that are recommended by the developers are an NVIDIA GeForce 560, an AMD Radeon HD 6950, or an Intel UHD 630. The developers also recommend an integrated graphics size of 2 gigabytes of VRAM, DirectX 11, an operating system of Windows 10 64-bit, a storage capacity of 16 gigabytes, and a minimum resolution of 1920 by 1080p. For a quick overview of the game, Teamfight Tactics is a strategy auto battler where 8 players gather in a lobby to duke it out using teams they build over the course of the game from a round-to-round basis. The player who's the last one standing wins the match. For the story of the game, there really isn't any, but it does expand upon the League of Legends universe as it does use League characters and League environments for the player to play in. The player's role is to have a stronger army than all 7 of their opponents, manage their economy to buy units, and fight against a random enemy team on a round-by-round basis to come out on top. The installation of the game is the League of Legends client. Since the game is paired with League of Legends, all the user needs to do is go to the Riot Games website to download the client that's available on both Windows and Mac OS. There is also a mobile client that users can download for both iOS and Android. The user interface for Teamfight Tactics has all the information you need. Your gold amount, your level, your health, your opponent's health, the shop, and all the units that are available to be purchased, the current round, the player you're fighting, and your odds at rolling for different costs of champions are all laid out to you. For TFT's gameplay, it is all about building units that can be bought from the shop, matching those units' races and or classes to enhance the power of those units' traits and abilities. The player is also expected to build items on their units that augment how the units play and position their units optimally on the board. Since this game is an auto battler, the player doesn't actually have to control the units, they do that themselves. You can buy more units to upgrade those units into better versions of themselves. Teamfight Tactics also features sets, where every 3 to 4 months the developers will change all the units and traits in the game and swap them out for new ones for players to play with. The set featured in this footage is the current set of 7.5, and it features the mechanic of having powerful dragons to be purchased and that add a great amount of value to your team. The scoring in Teamfight Tactics is denoted by your place. It can be 1st through 8th place. It depends on your health. Your health starts at 100 health, and if you reach 0, you're out of the game. In the order that you reach 0 in comparison to your other opponents, that will be your determinant for your place in the game. The artwork is done beautifully by the people who have done the visuals for League of Legends, and it runs on the same engine as League of Legends to the visual clarity and niceness on the eyes that is definitely present in the game. Each sound of the game is handpicked to give the user feedback on their actions, from leveling up sound to purchasing units to placing the items to placing your units on the board. There is always feedback on your actions, which makes for great sound design. The music is negligible and offers much more to be desired. However, in a strategy game, focus is more important. Special features of the game is that there are 4 modes to play. You can play normally, ranked, with a friend, or in a faster pace experience. Bugs that are found by the community are quickly patched by the developers as the patches come out every 2 weeks and the developers are very keen on patching their game. Teamfight Tactics is fun because with these mechanics, each game is always likely to be different. The gameplay is fun by building your team with the units you've purchased along the way every round. Applying items and finding optimal positions for your units ingrains the strategy in the game. Moreover, the fun in the game lies with the inherent randomness of the game. Each shop of 5 units able to be purchased is random. Each item received from the game is random. Each opponent you face is randomly selected, and each augment that alters how the game is played is random. The randomness in each game, combined with a unit-specific niche and a team composition, provides an addicting form factor to see how really far you can push your team composition to its fullest potential. What cannot be fun about the game is how frustrating it can be when you low roll and you are not as lucky as you wanted to be. Not finding the units you wanted to build, not receiving the items that would be good for those units that you have already built. It's apparent that the high rolls in this game can be as amazing as the low rolls are disheartening. This added fact that your opponents can just be luckier than you are is honestly frustrating, but is inherent with randomness being a part of the game. In the auto chess world, TFT is the pinnacle of the genre, with the alternative being Dota Underlords, developed and published by Valve. The difference between the game lies within the TFT's developers, Riot Games. They innovate the game constantly to be persistent in its constant development and balancing of the game. What they do better in this aspect is that they change the set mechanic of the game every 3 to 4 months to keep things fresh and allow players to give another reason to come back and play. Implementing new mechanics, keeping the game alive through this method, allows the game to provide a new experience to the player every single time. Moreover, the game succeeds by tying itself to the League of Legends client. With League of Legends being one of the most popular games in the world, whether the players of League of Legends wanted it or not, they already have TFT ready to play at any time. This tactic ensures that TFT will remain relevant as League is a constantly proven game in the global sphere of video games. The appropriate audience for this game would be from the casual gamer to the competitive player that participates in ranked play. This game offers a multitude of modes to accommodate a player's wants from the game in order to invoke a certain experience. The design mistakes of TFT is that it always solely relies on something new, that resources must be put into making new stuff for the game, which over time will be taxing for developers, especially if the game does not succeed in its player count. It only gets more difficult to understand from a first-time experience. The strengths of TFT is that it provides a unique experience for players that want to dive into the auto chess genre. Having unique units almost every 3 to 4 months keeps the game fresh. However, the weaknesses lie in the lack of tutorial for the game for new players. Lastly, the game could be improved by including a baseline tutorial to the game, or by directing new players to the community members who help new players learn TFT, especially those who are already on YouTube and make videos for that case. Growing the community would allow TFT to grow as a game, and that is how it could be improved. Thank you for watching this review of Teamfight Tactics.